So this is Time Spinner. This is kind of a cool, like, action, adventure, like Metroidvania type game. Except it's got a little bit more story stuff to it. So I'm just kind of going over a little bit right now. I don't want to do too many spoilers, but, like, there's some pretty interesting dialogue in this game. But the whole concept of this is that there is this this person called the Time Spinner who can travel back and forth through time, and she is kind of thrust into like an unknown time period, and the thing that takes her through time is broken, so she's stuck figuring out how to get back. Because like basically the evil tribe or whatever that is trying to take out her people succeeds. So she's, way further back in time than she wanted to be to try to stop them, but is still kind of jumping between the past and the quote-unquote present through these time portals where you can go across different parts of the map, but also go between the past and the present. So, like, I could go to this same place where I am now, and it's totally different. It's a whole different area. Because apparently in the present, this area that I was in is actually, like, kind of a shrine to the bad guys. Because they've already won. So there's kind of some really neat stuff here. There's also a bunch of lore that you can check out that's kind of related to the things you do. Like, as you do things, the lore that you can find in the world might change because you've actually affected the events and things like that. So there's a lot of really cool, like elements to this outside of just the normal, Metroidvania type stuff. So yeah, some of these areas are just kind of like almost villages, really. There's also this cool shop crow, and it's kind of meta. Like, it knows that I can go through time, and it knows that time has changed when it's changed. It, like, lives outside of time, I guess. That kind of reminds me of, like, the shopkeeper and the messenger, for example. Don't insult my shiny stuff emporium. That's funny. But you also have this kind of cool little, like, flying spirit type thing. And for some reason, in, like, dialogue scenes and stuff, it always switches over to this dragon, which is the one you originally get. But you actually can switch them out. Jeez, I didn't realize there was going to be so much dialogue right now. You can actually switch them out between different ones if you go into your familiars. I only have 3. I assume there's more in the game, but you can switch them out and see they have different damage output and different magical abilities. So, like, I've got the one that's wind magic because it's half cat. I'm gonna use the cat, let's be honest. But the dragon's also super cool, and it, like, shoots out fire. So, like, I'll switch it out and go find some bad guys. Okay, there we go. Now we got some bad guys. So yeah, if you go through this area, fighting things, see the dragon will help you fight. Well, kind of. He's not very good at it, that's why I don't like him as much. I think the other familiar I had does a lot better. He's very close range, whereas if I switch over to my griffin, he's got kind of a cool, like, ranged... Come on, do your thing. You're embarrassing me in front of the wizards. Do your thing. Okay, whatever. He can do a cool, like, branched out wind attack. I'm sure we'll see it eventually. But the other cool thing about this game is, like, instead of just having kind of like, a weapon attacked, or a weapon equipped, there it is. There's the cool wind thing that he does. Told you he does a cool wind thing. Anyway, instead of just equipping weapons and magic, or having, like, a gun, like in most Metroidvania games, where it's either a Metroid-style game that's more like sci-fi futuristic, and you've got an upgradable gun, or it's more Castlevania, where you've got, like, various whips and swords and things like that. This actually, like, just the Time Spinners, as they're known, have the ability to manipulate these orbs. So she actually has, like, special powers that lets her use these orbs. And again, if you go into your kind of like weapon equipment menu, basically. You can equip 2 different like weapons, quote unquote, that are your orb attacks. So like I've got this cool one that like sends out a little like spiky eye, but there's also like a plasma beam that just kind of does a straight out beam shot. Or like a fire that just does kind of a little wimpy fireball. And then you combine that with another orb, which in this case is my more traditional blade. I've actually had this one since the beginning. It's pretty strong. Like, level 25 is nothing to laugh at. But yeah, you can switch out that too. So, like, the wind kind of just sends out a little, like, gust, basically. And they alternate, so it's kind of a combo. If you have one that is faster, then you can send out the one and then just keep button mashing the other one while it's out. But generally, it kind of toggles back and forth. Aside from that, you have your kind of your big attack, which in this case, I have like this giant hammer that you charge up and smash down. I'll show you in a second. And then you have kind of a passive. The little things that are shooting out every time I attack, they're icicles, which is from my passive. So that allows me to kind of like turn any like close range melee into an also long range weaker attack, which is kind of cool. You just get a little extra damage with every attack. But you can have one, for example, that puts little blades around your orbs, so they do like passive attack damage when you... Come on. Nothing here. Man, you keep embarrassing me. So yeah, like as you run around, you do passive damage, which is pretty cool. But it's not that strong, and you kind of take more damage than it's worth. Obviously you're attacking too, but it is kind of nice for like if you're trying to collect a bunch of money and stuff. You can just take that and like as you jump into the chandeliers and things like that you can break, it automatically breaks them. But at some point in the game I kind of stopped wanting to use it. Another cool one is the silence ring, which I actually had on my second my second mode, and it absorbs like some damage before it breaks. And that's good for bosses and things like that, where, you know, you might be close to death, you can swap out. But I like my ice one, which I don't have equipped right now. There we go. I like my ice one, because it just kind of, you know, it helps you with the range, if you've got 2 closer range attacks. Oh yeah, but I will show you... Well, bam. You have to, like, charge it up, which kind of sucks. And I can't tell... Yeah, until you charge it up all the way, it doesn't do anything, and it uses a certain amount of MP. So it's kind of weird, because like it's a dedicated button. Like the B button is just for that, and then you can hold it as long as you want. Go into a different room, whatever. But it's just kind of weird because like you'd think you could just hit that button, but if you just tap it, it doesn't do anything. You have to charge it, which makes it kind of slow, and I honestly forget to use it a lot of the time. But it can come in handy. And there's a few different ones of those too, like, that one's kind of cool. Little Kamehameha situation going on there. They're all based on your other orbs. So, like, as you collect a new orb, you can go into the shop and, like, upgrade that thing to get the powerful version. So, like, I've got a giant sword, for example. Infernal Blades is pretty cool too. Shaboom. But yeah, I just keep the hammer because it's powerful. Aside from that, your equipment stuff is pretty standard. It just raises your stats for the most part. But you have a helmet, a shirt, and then 2 kind of accessories, which have some neat things like, you know, preventing status effects and things like that. Increase the amount of treasure you can find. But nothing too special here. Like, the equipment and the variety of orbs and things like that is probably one of the things that I'm a little disappointed about in this game. It definitely feels like more of a budget entry in the Metroidvania stuff, because they focused a lot more on, like, making a cool map than they did on fleshing out, you know, the amount of stuff you can get. Because like I said, I'm fairly towards the end of the game, And there's really not a lot as far as like orbs and things like that that I found. Captain's uniform. Those are not worth... Well, no, they're actually pretty good. Dang. Where do they come from? See, like... these chests respawn. And I don't know why this just suddenly had really good stuff in it. Yeah, I'm gonna switch that out then. Dang, that's good. Alright. Anyway. Yeah, and I also don't know, like, too much of a difference, because I still seem pretty weak. Like, I'm doing, you know, some good damage output, but it just seems like you never really get that strong in this game. But anyway, aside from all of, like, the upgrades and things like that, you do still level up. Like, I'm level 34. Yeah, even though, like I said, my actual status isn't that high, like 11 damage. Doesn't seem like that much. And you can, you know, raise it through equipment, things like that. Like, that's kind of what I just did. But it doesn't raise that much. You also have items, obviously, and relics, which are kind of like the upgrades that you get over time. It's very, very Castlevania. Again, I don't want to spoil this too much, but you have kind of the traditional upgrades, like, you know, double jump, being able to swim, that kind of normal things that you get. I'm pretty sure I don't have all of them yet, because there's still some areas I can't access for whatever reason. But there is one cool one, if I can find where to use it. So yeah, before you got the double jump, a lot of these areas like this would not be reachable, because... Oh, okay, it is. But the point is, a lot of these areas weren't reachable. But one thing you do get, like one of the first upgrades you get, is the ability to stop time as part of like kind of your, you know, your time manipulation abilities. So you can actually stop time and jump on enemies to get around, which is a really cool ability. I would argue the game actually doesn't use it enough, unfortunately. But you can just kind of use it to get around if you don't feel like fighting things, or, you know, if you're almost dead or whatever. But there's actually a few times when like the puzzles call for it, and that's really cool. So like as far as your, you know, kind of your power upgrades, you have like, you know, your health boosts, your mana boosts, things like that, but you also get like more sand as you go. So like if you see, those all have number totals on them, and those raise as you get more stuff. So there's a lot of cool stuff in this game. And all of it together kind of just like, it comes together to create a really cool game that I definitely recommend. I don't think this game has gotten a lot of play so far, unfortunately. I didn't really know about it until like I saw a trailer for it coming to Switch, but it had actually been out for a while on other consoles and stuff. And I think that's a shame. But just the idea, like the whole idea of time manipulation, like, you know, if you can't figure out where to go, you might have to jump into the past and try there. Like, oh no, I was blocked. Wait, now it's open. There's a lot to be said for games that like have kind of cool mechanics and stuff like that, and this is one of the most interesting takes on a Metroidvania style game that I've seen in a long time. And it plays really well. So yeah, I just kind of wanted to give a quick overview of this game because I don't think enough people know about it, and I've been really enjoying it. Oh, of course there's also like, you know, big bosses and stuff. Nothing's terribly challenging. I will say that this game is fairly easy for the most part. I've died a few times, but I'm also not good at video games, so that's, you know, the fact that I haven't died that much is kind of telling that it's not terribly hard. But there's some challenging stuff in there, and some really cool sections. But there is some pretty cool stuff in here that I definitely recommend checking out. But yeah, I think that's all I got for this one. So, until next time, have fun.